StudyIQ IAS, आपका सिलेक्शन हमारा मिशन।
What is the relationship between God and the world? ईश्वर का इस दुनिया से क्या संबंध है? ये सवाल अक्सर हमारे मन में आता है। फिलॉसफी में इस सवाल के बहुत सारे जवाब हैं। एक जवाब तो ये हो सकता है कि ईश्वर ने दुनिया बनाई है और वो उसको लगातार मेंटेन करके रख रहा है। गॉड इज द क्रिएटर, सस्टेनर एंड डिस्ट्रॉयर, जैसा कि हम सुनते आए हैं। एक फिलोसॉफिकल एंगल ये भी है कि भगवान ने दुनिया बना दी और वो यहां से चले गए। नाउ दिस वर्ल्ड इज सेल्फ सस्टेनिंग वर्ल्ड। अनदर व्यू इज सेइंग दैट गॉड इज द वर्ल्ड एंड वर्ल्ड इज गॉड, पैंथीज्म। एक ऐसा फिलोसॉफिकल व्यू जो ये बोलता है कि यही जो दुनिया है वही भगवान है। दुनिया और भगवान एक दूसरे के सिनोनिमस हैं। एवरीथिंग इज गवर्न्ड बाय नेचुरल लॉ और लॉ ऑफ नेचर, because God is nature, nature is God, God is universe. They all are alike. कण कण में भगवान है, आप बोल सकते हो पैंथीज्म। और एक ऐसा व्यू है जो ये बोलता है कि ये दुनिया तो भगवान है ही, लेकिन भगवान इससे कई गुना और ज्यादा भी है। कुछ लोग आएंगे और कहेंगे कि नहीं, दुनिया तो अपने आप बन गई, बिग बैंग थ्योरी। एथीस्ट will come and say that no. So there are many possible answers of this question, that what is the relationship between God and the world. Fine. So in this video we will discuss all those things. So relationship between God and world. God and world depends, okay, is the central question of the philosophy, theology and metaphysics, and with diverse perspective shaped by cultural, religious and intellectual tradition. One particular tradition is theism, which says that God is the creator, sustainer and destroyer. Another perspective is deism, that God is the distant architect. God created this world and went away, and now this world is self-sustaining, just like the watchmaker who made a particular watch, and that watch started running, and after that watchmaker is gone. Now nobody is knowing that where is the watchmaker, but this watch is continuously functioning. So just like watchmaker, God created the world and went away, and he also endowed you with some of the reasons, and because of that rationality this world is self-sustaining. One thing, that God as the world is God. One will come and God in the world, God world in the God. Atheism, no God, only world. Agnosticism, अनसर्टेन, उनको पता ही नहीं है कि गॉड क्या है, वो क्या, ठीक है। ईस्टर्न पर्सपेक्टिव वी विल डिस्कस, एंड द लास्ट एग्जिस्टेंशियलिस्ट एंड पोस्ट मॉडर्न पर्सपेक्टिव. सो इन दिस पर्टिकुलर वी विल डिस्कस दैट डायग्राम आफ्टर हैविंग डिस्कशन ऑन ऑल ऑफ दीज व्यूज और दीज फिलोसॉफिकल व्यूज. सो फर्स्ट फिलोसॉफिकल व्यू इज थीज्म, that is God is the creator and sustainer, or you can say destroyer as well. Theism possessed personal transcendental God who created and interact with the world. So here God is transcendent, which means God is not living here, God transcendent, but the point is God continuously interacting with the world. Okay, this view is of the classical theism, that is God is omnipotent, omniscient, omnibenevolent, existing outside the world, transcendent, yet actively involved in its creation and maintenance. This view is dominant in Abrahamic religion, just like Judaism, Christianity and Islam. These three religion believes in this particular view, that God is omniscient, omnipotent, omnibenevolent, and he will continuously interact or intervene into this world, but God is transcendent. यहाँ नहीं है. First thing. Second, Thomas Aquinas, apart from these Abrahamic religion, Thomas Aquinas says that first cause, God is the first cause, unmoved mover, and initiating the world's existence without being part of it. The world depends on God's will for existence, ontological dependence. Philosophical student will be understanding this particular term, that is first cause or unmoved mover. So this is the view of Thomas Aquinas as well, that God is the first cause of this universe and unmoved mover. God is not moving this, but this world is moving. Fine. But there is a problem that if God is perfect, then why does evil exist? In some of the lecture, we will discuss that why evil exists if God is omnibenevolent, if God is omnipotent and omniscient, then why evil exists? Which means God is not omnipotent, or there are chances that God is not omniscient, or if God is omnipotent and omniscient, but evil still exists, which means God is not omnibenevolent, वो दयालु नहीं है. That is why evil existing. So we will discuss all those things in next lecture. Apart from that, open theism is another thing. Okay, theism are two things. One is classical theism, another is open theism. Open theism says that a modern variant of theism that God's knowledge of the future is limited by human free will. Although God is omniscient, but human is still having free will. क्योंकि यदि गॉड को omniscient मानेंगे, then why I am not having any free will? क्योंकि जो मैं करने वाला हूं ये तो पहले से ही गॉड को पता है, और यदि गॉड को पता है तो ये तो प्री डिटरमाइंड है, तो इसमें मेरी फ्री विल कहां हो गई? इसीलिए यहां पे बोल रहे हैं that God's knowledge is limited by human free will. God interacted dynamically with the world, responding to the human choices rather than the predetermined all events. रिलेशनशिप क्या है? गॉड इज रिलेशनल, अडाप्टिंग टू द न्यू वर्ल्ड अनफोल्डिंग हिस्ट्री. ठीक है, एक ये हो गया. बेसिकली थीज्म इज द idea or philosophical idea which believes that God is the creator, sustainer and destroyer. God actively interact or engage with this world, and this view is very much popular in this Abrahamic traditions. Fine, this is the first view. If we discuss second view, then it is deism. As we have discussed that you can understand this view with the help of analogy of clockmaker. Analogy of clockmaker, that just like a clock was made by a clockmaker and he went away, but this clock is still running. In the similar fashion, God created this world and went away, and now this world is self-sustaining, functioning. God will not actively engage with this world, rather he endowed human being with the light of reason. Human beings are rational and they will act accordingly. So there is no God. Fine. Again, the God is transcendental God, because God went away. So God is transcendental God. In the theism, God was transcendental God, but he was actively engaging with the world. Here, God is transcendental God, but he will not going to engage with this world. So deism are prominent during enlightenment. Okay, आप हिस्ट्री में पढ़ते हैं, वर्ल्ड हिस्ट्री में, द एज ऑफ एनलाइटनमेंट. तो ये व्यू उस समय बहुत फेमस हुआ. गॉड इज ए रैशनल क्रिएटर हु सेट्स वर्ल्ड इन मोशन बट डज नॉट इंटरवीन. थिंकर्स लाइक वोल्टायर एंड थॉमस पेन सॉ द वर्ल्ड एज ए सेल्फ सस्टेनिंग मशीन गवर्न्ड बाय नेचुरल लॉ. वर्ल्ड इज लाइक सेल्फ सस्टेनिंग मशीन और जस्ट लाइक द क्लॉक विच वॉज मेड बाय क्लॉक मेकर. फाइन. रिलेशनशिप क्या है? गॉड डिजाइन द वर्ल्ड बट रिमेन्स डिटैच्ड लाइक अ क्लॉक मेकर हु बिल्ड अ क्लॉक एंड लेट्स इट रन. इंप्लीकेशन क्या है? द वर्ल्ड ऑपरेट्स इंडिपेंडेंटली विद नो डिवाइन इंटरवेंशन, क्योंकि भगवान तो चले गए हैं. फ्रॉम द रीजन नॉट डिवाइन कमांड. तो यहां पे रीजन से चल रहा है, ना कि डिवाइन कमांड से चल रहा है. इसके क्या इंप्लीकेशंस हैं ये तो क्लियर है. क्रिटिसिज्म अभी बहुत ज्यादा हो जाएगा, बहुत ज्यादा डेप्थ में चले जाएंगे. सो इन द क्लासेस वी विल डिस्कस कि इसके बहुत सारे क्रिटिसिज्म है डीइज्म के भी. मूविंग अहेड विद अनदर philosophical view, that is pantheism. अब pantheism बोलता है that is God is equals to universe, or you can say God is equals to universe and universe is equals to nature, and universe and nature works according to the natural law. Hence everything will function according to natural law, and natural laws are fixed. Hence everything is predetermined, but that determinism is coming from divine power because God, so it is known as divine determinism. This is the theory which is given by Baruch Spinoza, one of the thinker in Western philosophy. We will discuss that. Fine. So this view, pantheism, that is God as the world. Pantheism equates God with the universe itself, viewing all the existence as divine. कण कण में भगवान है. Baruch Spinoza, certain Eastern philosopher like Advait Vedant. Here God is not transcendent, but God is immanent God. God is immanent. In deism and as well as in theism, God was transcendental God. But here God is immanent God. God is still there. In every part of this universe, in every object of this universe, God exists. Just like in this pen. This pen, God exists. Fine. The relationship यहाँ पे क्या हो गया? God and the world are identical. Everything is manifestation of the divine substance. Fine. Implication क्या हो गए? There is no separation between creator and creation, because as far as I know, we know that this world is the creation of God. So creator is God and this world is creation. But here in pantheism, there is no difference between creator and creation. Laws and processes are divine, eliminating the need for a personal deity. Critic क्या होंगे? Critic argued that pantheism risks negating God's transcendence and personal agency, making God a mere synonym for the nature. ठीक है? So this is the view Baruch Spinoza and Advaita Vedanta. So we discussed three views. In two views, God was transcendental God, but in this, God was immanent God. But the next view is very much important. And it is the combination of two things, you can say, pantheism and theism, where God is transcendent as well as immanent, which means God is, this is God and this was universe. Theism view. Pantheism, God and universe are identical, but here God is something more than the universe. So God is immanent as well as transcendent. God है भी यहाँ पे, लेकिन इसके अलावा भी और बाहर जगह भी है God. Okay, this view in Eastern philosophy, you can say that this view in Eastern philosophy is given by Ramanuj in his Vishisht Advaitavad. Vishisht Advaitavad. Shankaracharya's view can be compared with the pantheism, but here in panentheism, this is immanent as well as transcendental God. So pantheism posits that God permeates the world but also transcends it. The world exists within the God, yet God is more than the world. Just like this. Alfred North Whitehead. Some interpretation of the Hindu and Christian mysticism embrace this view. So Hindu view, that is Ramanuj of Vishishta Advaitavad. Relationship क्या है? God is both immanent, present in all the things, even in this pen, but God is much more than this, beyond this world. So the world participate in God's being, but God's essence exceeds it. Implication, the view reconcile divine closeness with independence, often emphasizing process. So these are four important views with respect to the relationship between God and the world. Apart from that, these views are simple, such as atheism. According to them, there is no God. There is a positive contempt for God in atheism. And because of that, atheism denies the existence of God, viewing world as a self-existence world, explicable through the natural process, just like Big Bang. Fine. This view is propagated by Daniel Dennett and Richard Dawkins. Relationship क्या है? There is no God. The world is the closed system governed by physical laws. Meaning, if any arises from the human constructs evolutionary process. Implication क्या है? The world's existence is explained through the cosmology, that is Big Bang theory. This is atheistic view. Fine. We will discuss in detail those views and their implications. Okay, but due to the shortage of time, we are discussing, okay, only these views. Agnosticism, uncertainty about God's relationship. इनको पता ही नहीं है, agnostics हैं, तो they suspend judgment on God's existence and relationship to the world due to the insufficient evidence, like Thomas Huxley. Relationship क्या है? Nature of the God and the world's connection, if any, is unknowable, is speculative. Implication, focus shift to empirical or ethical concern within the world, sidestepping metaphysical claims. Critic says that agnosticism is a cop-out, avoiding engagement with the existential questions. Fine. Eastern perspective, as we have discussed, Hindutva Advaita Vedant, which can be compared with Baruch Spinoza's view. But when we will discuss Advaita Vedanta, then we will find that this Jagat is the creation of Maya, according to Shankaracharya. So from Shankaracharya, from practical perspective, this Jagat is real. But from spiritual perspective, or from, you can say, metaphysical perspective, this particular world is not real. It is illusory. It is the creation of Maya. So this world is the creation of Maya. Basically, Shankaracharya says that Brahma Satyam, Jagat Mithya, Brahma Satyam, Jagat Mithya, Jivo Brahmev Napara. Brahma is the real, Jagat is Mithya, Jeev is not different than the Brahma. This is the quote. And Shankaracharya says that there are three levels of reality. One is practical level of reality. So if you see from practical perspective, it will seems that Jagat is real. But from Paramarthic perspective, this Jagat is not real. Paramarthic perspective, this Jagat is not real. Fine. So this is the view of Advaita Vedanta. Then Buddhism. Generally non-theistic Buddhism focuses on the world as a impermanent and independent with no creator God. Some Mahayana tradition personify ultimate reality resembling a pantheistic God. So relationship क्या है? World is a cycle of sansar with no divine origin or purpose in traditional terms. So these are the views with respect to, or different philosophical perspective with respect to the relationship between God and the world. Now I hope all the views are clear to you. Okay, we started with the theism where God created the world and God is actively intervening with the world, and that is why we are praying to God. Okay, be in Christianity or in Judaism or in Islam. Okay, regular prayers are there. Why? Because God is hearing, God is listening to your prayers. So this is theism. Then deism. Deism will say that God created the world and went away, which means God is no more. God is transcendental God. He is not listening to your prayer. So rather than praying, use your reason and make your life beautiful. That is deism. Then pantheism. Kan kan mein Bhagwan hai. Pantheism. God is world, God is universe, universe is God. So God is everywhere. When God is everywhere, then there is no need to worship. Fine. You yourself is God. So there is no distinction between creation and creator. Then panentheism, that God created the world out of himself, but God is much more than this particular universe. That is pantheism. And these are some of the Eastern view and atheism as we have discussed. So I hope the relationship between God and the world is clear to you. In next lecture, we will be discussing the relationship between God and the man. Thank you so much.
StudyIQ IAS, आपका सिलेक्शन हमारा मिशन।